Hello, welcome back to the reading of the poem of the Man God written by Maria Valtorta, Volume 1. Now I'm going to begin to introduce you to the person of Maria Valtorta. I'm going to read the excerpts at the beginning of the book that tell of her life. This is a picture of her. I don't know if you can see it, so I'm going to lift it up to you. Very lovely, but you can see that she looks like she's suffering. This picture was taken Maria Valtorta in 1943. This will be part one because the excerpts that they have, there's several pages, and I want to keep the videos somewhat short. So we'll begin. The person and works of Maria Valtorta. Birth and childhood. Maria Valtorta was born on the 14th of March, 1897, in Caserta, where her parents, originally from the Lombard region, were in temporary residence. Her father, Joseph, was born in Mantova in 1862, was a serving non-commissioned officer in the 19th Cavalry Regiment. Her mother, Isaide Fioravanti, born in Cremona in 1861, was a French teacher. After brushing with death during her birth, Maria remained an only child, having as wet nurse a wretched mercenary. When she was hardly 18 months old, the family moved to Faenza in Romagna, and a few years later, in 1901, transferred yet again to Milan, where Maria was placed in the Ursuline Sisters kindergarten, located in Via Lanzone. Here, at the age of 4.5, Maria began to experience, quote, the desire to console Jesus by becoming like him in sorrow, voluntarily born out of love, end quote. In October 1904, at 7 years of age, she was enrolled in the Institute of the Marseillane Sisters, located in Via 20 Settembre, where she initiated elementary studies, achieving from the start scholastic recognition as first in her class. On the 30th of May 1905, in the Via Quadrano Center of the same institute, she was confirmed by the Holy Cardinal Andrea Ferrari, whose touch truly infused the spirit of love into her. Subject once again to professional transfer, in September 1907, her father took the family to Voghera, where Maria frequented public schools. The French lessons, held every Thursday by a religious order exiled from France on account of the Combes Law, served to place her soul in communion with God. Quote, once again, and at Casteggio, on the first Sunday of October 1908, Maria received her first Holy Communion, but she was deeply grieved at the absence of her father, whom she loved so much. Her mother, an extremely severe woman, had judged his presence at the ceremony, quote, unnecessary, end quote. In a boarding school at Monza, next entry. Due to the habitual despotic attitude of her mother, to which her father responded with meek docility, Maria was painfully obliged to leave her home, in March 1909, at 12 years of age, to go to a boarding school. But since it was the beautiful Bianconi College of Monza, of the Sisters of Charity of the Most Holy Child Mary, she ended up finding herself at home. Her generous, firm, strong, and faithful character brought her to be nicknamed Valtortino. Her love for study, order, and obedience gave her the reputation of being exemplary. But her mother decided that she should follow a technical course of studies, and Maria, quite apt in mathematics, could not avoid failing her examination badly. She later made up for the time she had lost by means of intensive study and completed the classical course, quote, in which she had always succeeded so well, end quote. After, quote, 5 terrible scholastic years and 4 solar years, end quote, it was yet again her mother who decreed that she should leave college in February 1913. She had to leave, quote, that nest of peace, end quote, and her poor heart, presaging the future, awaiting her so tormentingly, trembled with fear and grief, end quote. From the last spiritual exercises in which she participated at the college, given by the Bishop Monsignor Kazani, Maria wanted, quote, to obtain an enduring fruit for all her immediate life in the world, and a program for what would be her future life, end quote. And the Lord once again did not fail to reveal himself to her soul, bringing her to understand, quote, what was to be her life in God, in relation to God, wanted by God, end quote. Next entry. In Florence, in springtime of 1913, the Valtorta family moved to Florence, this time not to follow the regiment, but because Joseph retired for health reasons. Maria often visited the city with her father, and on her own account continued to lead the life of a schoolgirl, despite the, quote, free lessons and religious indifference, end quote, which her mother did not fail to provide. In Florence, Maria met Robert, quote, he was handsome, wealthy, and cultured. He was also good, serious, and calm, end quote. They loved each other, a silent, patient, and respectful love. But Maria's mother wanted to terminate the budding friendly affection. A similar circumstance was to take place 9 years later in Maria's engagement to Mario, a winsome, motherless youth, needful of care and affection in order to become a good fellow, a valiant officer. For Maria, to love was an intransgressible condition, to be able to live, but she was to go to God, after seeing how tenuous are human affections. I want to make a note that in these, whenever it sounds like a quote, it is a quote directly from her, Maria Valtorta. Next entry, a dream. In the spring of 1916, during a tremendous period of desperation and desire, the Lord returned to attract her to himself by means of a dream, which was to remain vivid in Maria throughout her life. In an evangelical vision, which seemed to anticipate the waking visions of her literary work, Jesus aided Maria with words of admonishment and piety, as well as a gesture of absolution and blessing, which for Maria were a cleansing which completely purified her, and she awoke with her soul enlightened by something which was not of this world. I will end that reading. As you can see, we have more to read. This has been a reading from the poem of the Man God, written by Maria Valtorta, Volume 1, and this is the excerpts from Maria Valtorta's life. I will continue this tomorrow. Thank you for listening. May God bless you, and may peace be with you.